Welcome to the Fire Family Collective podcast, the show dedicated to supporting the unsung heroes of the fire service, the wives, partners, and families who hold down the fort while their firefighters serve. All right. Welcome to the Fire Family Collective podcast. We are so excited. We are sitting down today with Alex Barrera. Thank you for being here, Alex.
Of course. I'm excited.
Yeah. Alex and I have some things in common. I was a former teacher. Alex is currently a teacher. I am so excited. Alex, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So I am Alex Barrera. I am from the Texas Panhandle. My husband and I, we are high school sweethearts. So we've been together through a lot, but we have 3 kids, 3 girls. They are 8, just newly 6, and 2. So it's a little bit of chaos here. And we decided recently to add a puppy into that, which has been a whole adventure in itself. So yeah, of course, anytime he eats a sock, Kyle's on duty. It's just what happens. But I am a high school math teacher. I actually teach medical math, just recently transitioned to that. But yeah, we've had kind of some career changes before that, but that's kind of where we are now. So he's been on service for almost 5 years.
Okay, so you already had your first 2 kids before he joined the fire department, and then you also had a different career before you were teaching math.
Yes. Yeah. So we lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, like right after college. And my degree is actually in construction engineering, which is really random to be teaching math now. But so I was working in the construction field, and then he was actually teaching and coaching himself. He was teaching high school history and coaching football, because you have to do that in Texas, baseball and softball. And so then just after about 5 years, he kind of got burnt out from that, because that's what happens down here. And we moved back home because his dad was a fireman here at our local department. And so we moved back home for him to do the academy. So yes, we had just had our second. She's a 2020 baby. And so we had just had her, and he started the academy in 2020 to 2021. And so then switched over to that. And I switched to teaching after our first daughter. So yeah, so it's been interesting to have conversations, with rookies, and to say, like, the fire schedule is something to adjust to. And it's a lot different. We miss out on things, but him coaching beforehand, honestly, I see him more now probably than I did when he was coaching football. So
I bet.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of our background there.
That's so crazy. There's so many things we can dive into. I can't imagine having 2 littles and then starting the new career. I mean, we basically did that when John did his lateral fire academy. Our daughter was a year and our son was like 2, 3. So, but we had already done fire. Like I already was familiar with it.
I don't know. I think medic is harder. So he's a firefighter paramedic, and he did medic school the year we had our third. So like we had a newborn at home when he was going through medic school. And I think that was crazier. Like all the hours on the box and everything. Would not recommend.
Yeah. John did medic school when I was at the end of my undergrad program. And that was very tough on our relationship as young 20-something-year-olds. But the amount of hours studying and the internship and the write-outs and things that you have to do, I can't imagine doing that, like you said, with kids. Like, I also feel like most of the time, the people that are in these profession as first responders, they're those type of people that like continuously level up. So you're like, someone's always like, well, now you're just going to like stay, right? And you're like, no, not my partner.
No.
They're going to find the next thing. And what's it going to be?
Yes, every time. Yeah, he's already, we got through paramedic school, everything kind of calmed down. Well, then he started teaching at the fire academy, and he started helping with EMS classes because he has his teaching cert and so in the state of Texas, I mean, if you have a teaching cert, you can test for the fire instructor like automatically. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great because then he doesn't, a lot of firemen have second jobs. And so that's kind of his off job. And
Right.
so, but then, he starts that. Well, now he's just as busy. And then he's thinking about testing for driver soon, which will be just as, like, it's always on to the next thing.
Yeah. I'm curious after he tests for driver, what you say for your family, what was, more challenging, and obviously different seasons, it's going to be different. But for us, when John was promoting to driver was the craziest time of our life. It wasn't lateral. It wasn't newborn baby. I mean, it was the amount of hours he put in studying and training was just, it was very rough on our relationship.
Yeah, we'll see. He hasn't started yet, but we'll see.
Well,
He's doing
hopefully
all
it's
the
not like
reading,
that.
but yes.
Yeah, that's good. Awesome. Well, one of the other things that you said that mentioned is how you found the Fire Family Collective. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our local department, I was telling you earlier, it's a lot of hiring has been done in the last 5 years. So just a lot. It's a younger department now than it was when he got on, and so locally we kind of found ourselves. We've lost that community and tradition a little bit here with all the new hires. Some of the older, 15 years plus or 20 years plus vets, they used to meet and they remembered when here we had that fire family. And like
Right.
we had, we got together outside of work for cookouts or swimming or whatever. It just, and I think there was what am I trying to say? Like an organization at one point too for the wives, and it's just not around anymore. And
Yeah.
so it kind of got phased out in that middle group, and now the younger group, we've got kind of realized to the point there's a lot of people in the department we don't know, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
wives we don't know, like even wives who don't even know their husband's crews. And so
Right.
trying to bridge that gap of how can we get to know other wives that are local, but then how can we support them in that. And so one day I was just looking and I was like, I wonder if there's something out there where, if not, we need to start it or something. But is there something out there where firewives can come together? Like, surely someone's already created it. And I just started searching on, I think I Googled, I think I Instagrammed, I don't know. And I stumbled upon Fire Family Collective. And I was like, this is it. This is what I was thinking of. Like, not just a random Facebook page, but something more focused on bringing us together, because it is a unique lifestyle and something we need support, and our family matters. And like, if we're not taking care of that and finding support for that and getting outside voices, then you can be in isolation, which isn't always the best place to be.
Yeah. I love what you said about, like, you're not alone. There has to be something else out there, and you found it. And one of the best things is the collective is having this community of people who get it, so you don't feel so alone. You can feel seen. And one of the things, like I mentioned before, John used to work at a different fire department, which was much larger. And coming here, his class size in Sacramento was half the class. Like, it was 35 people. His whole department here is roughly 80. So just
Wow.
his academy class in Sacramento was, half the size of this whole fire department. So it very different. And, starting over to build connections with people when you could be perceived as, like, probationary, you don't know anything. And it's like, we've already done this. John's been in EMS for over 10 years already before we even came here. Like, you want to be included. You don't want to be excluded. So to know that no matter what department you're at, where you are in your journey, you will have this bigger entity of Fire Family Collective to wrap you up in those warm hugs and be there, whatever part of your journey you're on. You're going to medic school, you are testing for a driver, like whatever it is, to be like, there's someone out there in the nation that gets this, is really nice to have.
Yeah, and we needed those veteran wife voices. That's why we need to reach out, because our department is so young now. And we need those veteran wives, that have been through raising the toddlers. And instead of just all of us toddler moms, commiserating together, like, we need someone to tell us, like, there's light at the end of the tunnel, or here's what we did that kind of helped with that, or here's some ideas how we made traditions around the schedule, and those voices to come down too. Because if it's just all of us in the same stage, we can kind of get in that pit.
Yeah. So that reminds me of two things. When we moved to Ventura, one of the things I did was join this moms group, and I was so intimidated to join it in Sacramento. I tried to go, and I went, and I was like, I can't do this. This is so overwhelming. So I gave it another shot here in Ventura. And at our table groups, we had a mentor mom. That was life-changing for me to have, like you said, someone who's ahead of you and can wrap you up in those warm hugs, tell you it's going to be okay. Yes, this is hard. And just sit there with you through it is a life changer. So I found that in a mom's group, but then to have that in the fire department, I also have that. And I can't tell you how many times I have texted and called that mentor, fire wife, and been like, I'm losing my mind. Talk me off the edge. Or like, warning, I'm sending a verbal diarrhea text message because I just have to get this out and someone needs to hear it. Hold space for me, please. And, like when John was testing for engineer, we drove out to Santa Clarita to go hang out with her. She's like, come out here. We'll have a fun day with you and the kids. She took us to like an indoor play place. We went and got dinner at my favorite Mexican food place out there. We went and got frozen yogurt. The kids had never done that before. Just all those types of things. Like you said, like I could do that with another mom who's like in the same space as me, but to be able to also have this mom, fire wife who's like a little bit ahead of me, can love on my kids in a different way, can love on me in a different way, can remind me like, it's going to be okay. Like, let it out. I'm here for you. And just let's have some fun, leave all that hard stuff in Ventura. We've already talked about it. Let's just have some fun for a few hours. It's just, you can't put a price on that. And to be able to have, again, this community where maybe we can't always do that in person, but we can connect virtually until we can connect in person.
Yeah. And it's been really great too, to find connections in our local department with older kids. And so like we have his captain or lieutenant, has high school kids who have loved on our girls. And so it's cool to see them build that connection. And to when our girls, maybe at some point might be like, well, why does he miss everything? Why is he never there? And have that hurt. They'll have other kids, fire kids, they can call to see how they went through it and just have that support. And so our kids need it too. And so even if we didn't have it locally, having somewhere that I can reach out and say, hey, like, how did your kids handle this? It's just
well, like you said, to be able to build it. So here in Ventura, they have this fire, what do they call it? Women's auxiliary group. So there's a few women who have stepped up and created this auxiliary group. We just had our like phone meeting earlier in the week. We spent like an hour trying to plan out different events for the year. So one of the best things is Santa at the fire station. It's amazing. And I cannot tell you, like you said, the connections the kids make with their friends that show up at Santa at the fire station, and even older kids who, like you said, are middle school, high school. And my kids love sitting with them, doing the craft with them. They're just so excited to hang out. And I can't, again, put into words what that means for them to have those older peers to look up to. And I hope as they get older, I love how you mentioned, like, they have these kids that they can reach out to and be like, I'm having a really hard time. How did you deal with it? And maybe not have it come from an adult, but have it come from another kid.
Yeah, someone who gets it, someone who's been in those shoes. It's funny you mentioned the auxiliary group. So I didn't know if that was like a local thing or if that was a national thing, because we used to have one here. So like I was saying, we kind of have this middle gap. So the older group at our department, they had this auxiliary group back in the day. And I don't really know all that entailed, but like I said, my father-in-law was a fireman here as well. And so I've heard all the stories from my mother-in-law and all that she was involved in. And so that was kind of what pushed myself and one of the other wives to start something here. And her and I are both like, we don't want any drama. Like, we don't want anything. Like, necessarily official. Like we just want to hang out and get to know people. That's it. Like
Yes.
just be
Yes.
chill. And so when we started, we decided last year, we were like, okay, we need to have some kind of event, and like no one's putting it on. And so locally, like it's really important to, like, if your department, whoever's listening, doesn't have something, like don't be afraid to start something. And like us, it can just be, we just want a casual hangout. So like we had everyone bring an appetizer to share, and then we had a trivia night. I was like, what's an activity that keeps us occupied, and it doesn't have to be, awkward small talk, but
Yep.
it's also not too cheesy. And
Yeah.
so we had a trivia night, and I was like, okay, maybe a handful of people will show up, and we had like 25. It was
That's
great.
amazing.
Like a
Yes.
funny story to go with that, I check your invites that you send out, because I was planning on 6:30, and I had put 6:30 on the invite. I had made it all cute in Canva and everything.
Yeah.
And then I guess on the Facebook event, I had put 6.
No.
And so I walked in. Yes, I was like, I just need like 30 minutes. We'll set up real quick. I walked
Everyone
in,
was
and
already
the
there.
room, yes, everyone was already there.
Oh my gosh. So then everyone could help you. It was great.
Yeah, they were so gracious. They were like, no, you're fine. Like, what can we help? Can we help you set up? And I was just mortified. Like, I was so embarrassed. But I was like, we might as well start it like that. Like,
Yes.
I told y'all it was casual. I think that's what I said. I was like, I told y'all this was casual.
Yes.
And so we've had a few
messy
more
and
since then.
imperfect. Yes,
Yes.
that's real.
Yeah, I was like, oh
So
my
you've
gosh.
gotten together since then?
Yes, we've had a few more events. We tried to do one more girls event, like a hiking event, and the weather did not cooperate, of course. And then we have a local baseball team, minor league team, and so we planned a night, like a family night for that. And when that one was huge, like a ton of people came. So we're still starting it, and we're planning our next event, but we're kind of in this, okay, let's do couples for a little while, which will be great because even some of the guys don't know each other, but it kind of breaks down that barrier of having to come by yourself into a room of women. And so we're going to have another event, but we're like, let's do it couples focused, family focused for a little bit until it gets strong. And then we'll have more ladies events. But yeah, it was it's hard to start something when there's not something. But realizing that we need it. And like, how do we talk to rookies, and sit there and say, like, you need to find your fire family. You need to find the people that are local that you can call whenever, if your husband's on duty, who can come over and, fix your electrical something that broke.
Yeah.
That was really random. But
no, that's real.
Like, yeah, because it always happens. But you need your people to call. Well, it's one thing to say that, but then if we're not making any of those connections locally, you can't really back that up, which is kind of what happened when we got tossed in. So
so I have 2 instances to share on that. One is it sounds like you're doing it. So kudos to you. I love this. You're building it, and we're going to expand upon this for sure. But one of the things that I started helping support with is when the new hires we have like a family day where the new hires go to orientation. I'm showing up as well as my husband to talk about Fire Family Collective and the foundation. And it's been a really nice way for me to be there for the new partners, significant others, parents, whoever's in the room, to be like, I'm a real person. I'm not a paid fire personnel. Like, I want to be there for you. So please, here's my phone number, reach out to me. Let's hang out. And we just had a new academy class start. I think they just ended week 3. I can't do math, but I think it was 3. And I have a group text with these fire partners, and it's just like the cutest thing. Like, I remember when I was on the other side and I didn't have that. And so I love like sending them like, have a great week. How is it going? Got together for coffee a few weeks ago with a few of them. And it just is really nice, like you said, because it's really scary to go to an event with everyone else who's already had these established relationships. And you're like, I don't know if my partner's going to make it another week, but we want to be there for you. We want to be there if you don't make it another week, so that you can call us and say, this really sucks. You're a part of the fire family immediately. And I think that you and your friend or whoever is something to like put a little thing in your head of maybe trying to make that happen, because it's just, I know it's really nice to have that familiar face in such a scary room when this is like a life-changing day. And then also I did bunco with our group in Sacramento with our academy ladies, and it was so much fun. I forgot I did that. So you reminded me of that. And I'll have to put that on the ideas list for a ladies' night for us.
Yeah,
because that was
it was a
just so
lot of
much
fun.
fun. Yeah.
Just something casual that gets people talking, but not forced. Yeah.
Right.
But you mentioned helping with the academy, and we got to do that recently. So he instructs with our local community colleges academy, and so we're hoping to get involved with the department. Our department started its own academy too, so there's kind of two that go on at the same time. But we recently got to do, like you were saying, where we could go in and talk about, like, here's what the expectations are going to be as far as like get ready, because your schedules are going to change, and it is an adjustment, and it's okay to be kind of upset about that, but here's what to expect as you're coming onto the department, and have their families and their spouses or their girlfriends or whoever there to talk about that with, because we sort of got that when we joined the department. They have, like you said, they have a family day, and there were, I think, 3 couples, like a panel that talked to us, but it was very focused on, I don't want to make this sound bad, but like, your firefighter's job is so hard, and here's what he's going to need from you. And here, you're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to suck it up when this happens. And, we kind of sit at the table and we're like, yes. And our home life is also really hard. And so it's not just you're supporting him, it's you have to be a team, and you have to communicate, and you both have to know there's expectations for, yeah, it's hard at work, but it's also hard at home, especially if you add kids onto that, and other, if you work, if you're a working mom and things like that. And so we got the chance to talk to the newest academy about that and about what to expect, and it was cool to have the wife voice in it, to not to be like, yeah, you're right, it does suck, but also here's our view, and give both sides of that, because I think so often, what we hear and what we read is like, yeah, he could have had a bad call, and so you need to make sure you take care of him. Well, yes. He could have had a long night, he needs a nap, make sure he takes a nap. Yes. But also, I've been up since 3 with a puking toddler, and I, insert whatever could happen.
Right.
But to get both sides of it, and remembering that we're a team. And part of the reason we do that, and we want to be involved in that, is because your marriage is so important, and taking care of that as a team is so important. Like the fire service has such a high divorce rate because people don't take care of that. And so finding support, not only locally, but also collectively.
Yes, put that in there.
But to have voices that, we're listening to advice that's not just self-focused or in the pit, I guess.
Right. And sometimes you want a different perspective from outside of your own department. Yes. And that is just nice too. And, I think that it's really nice to just build that connection from the beginning, so that if you were able to do that, I love that. And just, lock arms and we're in this together, sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
One of the other things that you reminded me of, my husband recently had surgery, and I cannot tell you how much our community has showed up for us, from chiefs showing up at the hospital, calling and texting me and my husband, to meal drop-offs in the hospital, coffee, walking with me at the hospital to get me out of the room and some sunshine, people stepping up, offering to take care of our kids, just incredible level of community that you just can't put a price on. And he had a smaller surgery in 2017 for his hip as well. And 2 firefighter families sat in the hospital waiting room with me while he had his surgery, helped me get him home into the house, left, came back with lunch. And it like you were saying earlier, we give up a lot to have this unique dynamic fire family life, and we also gain things that you just can't put into words. It really is a family. And you can be mad at them. You're going to have drama with them, all of the stuff that comes with a family. That's maybe not so typical of a friendship group. It's like, it's in, it's that next level of family.
Yeah. And you're always going to get what you put in too. You have to have a village. I've read this on some video, I think, but to have a village, you also have to be a villager, and you have to be there for others. But it's true. I mean, they answer when you have hospitalizations, but they also answer like when our plumbing breaks, or if I was saying something the other day, I was like, Murphy's Law strikes every time he's on shift. If something's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong. And like we had to take our daughter, we didn't really need to go to the ER, but we needed to see someone, and he was on a call. Well, we took her to one of the other stations. She had stuck her finger in what I call the cigarette lighter in your car, but the 12-volt thing, and like burned her finger. Yep. So like it wasn't ER worthy. I was like, we probably should get it checked out. Well, we couldn't go to him, but I knew if I go to any station, like whoever was there would check it out and be there. And
sure.
And so you just never know like what little things you might need people for. Yeah, and especially if you don't have people locally. Like we're lucky that we have family local, but we've watched other people's kids, or they've watched ours when we didn't have family available. So
yeah, I love that. It's so great knowing the power of coming together and all of us with the same desire to be connected and have this community grow. And it's so beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, it's needed for sure.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to chat about, dive more into?
I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot. There's so much that you could say,
Yes. We could talk forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely curious, to chat more with you about your pre-teaching and your husband's, that transition. And I don't know how you have a puppy right now. I can barely take care of 2 kids. So you have 3 kids and a puppy.
I don't know either.
And you work full time. Like, I'm so impressed.
It's crazy. It's crazy for sure.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of the other things, like, we just like, I can do one more thing. Of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, and it's so important. And this was something we mentioned. We would have to go on maybe another sit down to talk about this.
Yeah.
But it's so important to outside of all that, because our life is so crazy, because you have a schedule to work around, and you've got kids, and you've got work, and you're not always, with your partner. Still finding time for yourself. It's so important to find time for yourself. And that could be as little as a bubble bath or something, little, but it also could be like, we got to the point, Kyle looked at me one day and was like, you need a hobby.
Yeah.
Because I was just so drained. And so it's important.
Are you into anything right now? How are you pouring into you?
Well, a couple of years ago when he looked at me and he was like, you've got to find something that is an outlet for you. I actually got involved in our local community theater, and I had never done theater in my life. Never had done theater in my life.
Yeah.
But I took an improv class about 2 years ago, and I've just been sucked in, and I take classes every Tuesday. So we carve out every Tuesday I'm at class. So when he's off, he watches the kids, and when he's on, we usually work it out that his parents will keep them. But if they can't, then I just miss class that week. But finding something and stepping out of your comfort zone if you don't have a hobby like me.
That's amazing.
It's so
you
important.
were so bold, and we're like, I'm just going to try this.
Yeah, it was terrifying. Thankfully one of my friends was teaching it, and I texted him. I said, I'm terrified. Like, what are you talking about? I should take your class. He goes, just show up.
Yeah.
And probably one of the best things I've done.
And you did it.
I did it.
And you're still doing it.
Yes. Yes.
So has it been 2 years?
This summer will be 2 years. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I take like an acting class on Tuesdays. I've been in one musical. That was a little rough just because schedule. Thankfully, I had like the tiniest of parts. I was in like 4 scenes. So thankfully, I didn't have to go to a ton of rehearsals. I can't imagine one that I was in rehearsals like every day of the week. But
Yeah.
working around his schedule would be rough. But finding
Right.
something to be an outlet for you is like incredibly important.
Yeah. I love that. I think, oh, I hope that gives other people a little nudge, to just be curious and try something out. I want to take this ceramics class and I've wanted to take it for years. And now that my husband's off work right now for this injury recovery, I'm like, this is the perfect time because you're for sure going to be home, like you said,
Yep.
every whatever day of the week for 4 weeks for me to be able to take this class. And in all of our free time, just which is very little, right? Like
Yeah.
how do we spend it on us? And it's nice to do something then a walk or read a book, right? Like get out of the house, mix things up, challenge my mind and body. That's amazing. You're doing this
Yeah.
musical theater and did improv. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy because, like I said, I had never done theater before. Like I had been in choir and band, but
Yeah.
so it's been fun to learn.
Yeah, good for you. I love that. Okay, well, hopefully, anyone who's listening, if you try something out and you're bold and brave, let us know what you tried out after hearing Alex share her bold and brave and keep me accountable for taking my ceramics class and ask me how it's going. So I love that.
Absolutely. I want to know. I want to know. I need more ideas too of like what to do out of the box.
Yes. And maybe we'll do a poll and see what other people respond on a poll too. That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
that would be fun.
Cool. Well, thanks for chatting, Alex. I can't wait to check in and chat with you another time. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.